guide them in their work. We give you thanks and we give you all the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Kathy. Chris, would you lead us to the pledge, please?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris. This county commission meeting will come to order. Yeah. We have Rick Garcia on the phone with us. Can you hear us okay, Rick?
Yes, sir, buddy. Loud and clear.
Okay. Meeting got started here. Chris, the first item, please.
We have the acceptance of the minutes from the July 17th, 2019 meeting.
I'll move the commission to accept the minutes as presented.
And I'll second it.
And I'll concur. Next item, please.
We have exonerations 2019-344 through 2019-396 presented by the assessor.
Given the recommendations of the assessor and the prosecuting attorney, I'll move the president sign the exoneration.
Want to second that, Rick?
Yes.
I'll concur. Next item, please.
We have an order confirming and ratifying the fiduciary supervisor's report of claims and settlement reports in the following estates: Donley, DeRigi, Katsonis, Nixon, Rose, Rizzo, Summers, Moore, Chuckery, Wright, Sedera, Cook, Jarbo, Snyder, Dallison, Garja, Hall, Jackson, Earl, Davis, Wolford, Moore, Hermosella, Schrader, Buckner, Dusky, Bartlett, Minardi, Teagarden, Fox, Pheasant, Clark, Jackson, Kazuchio, Heston, Little, Workman, Gribble, Toothman, Brookover, Jones, Boulay, Bevan, Shipko, Wilson, Hollinsworth, Manel, Michael, France, Davis, Wilson, and Favor. And this requires the signature of the commission as well as the clerk.
Is there anybody here today with any objections to these orders confirming and ratifying the fiduciary supervisor's report of claims and settlement?
Seeing no objections, I'll move the commission sign the order.
And I'll second it.
And I'll concur.
On this next item, we have a resolution for a public hearing in regards to the TIF at Whitehall. And I am a property ownership of record, therefore I'm going to recuse myself from this particular vote, but Mr. Garcia can make the motion.
Okay, are you ready for me, Randy?
Yes, I am, Rick.
Okay, I'm setting the public hearing for August 14th at 10:30 a.m. City of Fairmont has already approved the resolution, and I believe Whitehall was set to vote on this at 9 a.m. prior to our meeting. The first phase of the 5th district is basically the Belltown Mall, Commons area. I'm not sure how much discussion, if any, we want to get into today as the purpose of the public hearing, but now would be the time to add any comments or questions. If no discussion, we'll move the commission sign the resolution setting a public hearing for Whitehall 5th application for August 14th at 10:30 a.m.
Thank you, Rick. I'll second that motion.
And I'll concur.
Okay. Jay, do you care to speak anything to this resolution at this time?
I can answer any questions if there's questions of the commission. If not, we appreciate it setting for a public hearing.
You're welcome. We did have a public hearing set, and I think the questions and answers may be done at the public hearing as opposed to here right now.
Thank you,
So
sir.
we do have that on our schedule now, so the resolution is passed, and thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate it. Next item, please.
We have an external budget revision in the sheriff's law enforcement line in the amount of $82,000, which requires the commission, or the signature of the commission.
I'll move the commission sign.
And I'll second.
Budget revision.
And I'll concur. Okay, Chris, next item, please.
We have a request for the advice and consent of the commission from the county clerk to hire Lynette Shahan to replace Cecilia Donato, full-time with benefits, effective August 1st, 2019.
I'll move the commission grants advice and consent to hire Lynette Shahan, full-time with benefits, effective August 1st.
And I'll be glad to second that, guys.
And I'll concur. Next item, please.
We have a request for proposals seeking to hire a qualified real estate appraiser or appraisal firm. The county has a few pieces of land that we would like to have appraised in hopes of marketing and selling them for development. We will post notice of this in the Times of West Virginia. This weekend, bids are due on Tuesday, August 13th by 4 p.m., and we will open those bids in our August 14th meeting at 10 a.m.
I'll move the commission publish the request proposal.
And I'll second.
And I'll concur. And the next item.
We have for the record note the commission received from Marion County Coal Company submitted permit number U-0078-83 MR4PR-IBR permit revision significant number 94 for public review.
And that's for the record. Next item, please.
Actually, we had a hearing, and a state hearing, which was canceled for today, I believe postponed for another date, so we can scratch that item off our agenda today.
Okay, with item number 9 for 1045, hearing for the estate of Maxine Zivkovich and Mylan Zivkovich Senior has been moved from our agenda to a later date. Anything else, Chris?
No, we do have some people signed up to speak, though.
Okay, who do we have first?
First, Roger Shoemate.
Roger?
Yeah, I'm here. For, we had a meeting last time. I thought it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But according to the paper, it shows that it's only been probably 2 or 3. It was the last meeting. We did talk, we wasn't in here, we did talk behind doors, and I don't know if there's a way that we can set up a meeting between me and you to talk about what we talked about before, because I didn't get no answer from it. And I stopped in here to see you, but the ladies told me outside that you're not in here every day, and I just didn't know how to get in touch with you. If I called in here, they'd tell me you wasn't here anyway. So
What's this all about? What are we?
this was about the meeting in Worthington I was having on that road.
I recall, we get a lot of calls and a lot of concerns about roads, and we don't have anything to do with roads. We have nothing to do with fixing potholes or fixing roads. It's just not something we can. We try to help you, steer you in the right direction. Now, remember, this is your personal road, road leading up to your property in the town of Worthington.
Well, it's actually not just to my property. There's
It
10 other
leads to your
families
property.
that live on the hill, and there's nobody else that wants to come in and speak up for it. There is one fella that did go see the mayor about it, but she just brushed him off and stuff like that. You was actually supposed to talk with him, and that's what I was waiting about.
Don't show on the way in.
He was supposed to have Chris to get back in touch with me, but actually, I would rather not hear it secondhand. I mean, I want to hear it from the person that.
You spoke with, I think we were all in the meeting.
You were
with-
supposed to talk with the mayor,
Yeah, I remember.
get back in touch with me, and who's this other voice coming in?
Rick's,
It's kind of blowing my mind.
he-
Where is it? Where are they?
Chris, did you recall what we?
Yeah, I do, and there was nothing, we don't have any jurisdiction over Worthington or anything they do with their roads either. I think we were gonna let him know if there was some kind of update, and there's not. Like you said, we don't manage roads, and certainly don't manage roads on behalf of Worthington. So it's kind of the wrong venue.
Well, I kind of understand about that. I understand in the meeting all about that. But there's other things in on that you guys aren't, like you could have did some research on them, the way I see it, the grants that you guys pass out for these places and
Yeah,
stuff.
they didn't have a grant from us for that, so we wouldn't have.
Where did they get the grant for
It would have been
the?
from the state if it had to do with roads.
No, it had to do with the riverbank.
We don't do riverbanks either,
You don't have to do with any grants that come back to them either.
no.
Chris is our administrator. Once we have meetings, he's instructed to follow up on it, see what happened. That's what his job is. We listen to you, give you opportunity to use this venue to speak to us, and you're allowed to do what you're doing. Not everybody is, but we don't have anything to do with the roads, especially inside a municipality. It's their responsibility. We have no jurisdiction. We have no authority at all there. And if I recall, I think you said the former mayor, there was some money allocated and it didn't go to the right place. It was kind of a complicated, convoluted situation. You explained to us that there had been money appropriated. Is that right, Rick?
Yes, sir.
And we called Chris to sort it out if he could. We don't have anything to do with Worthington's roads. We don't have any reason to step in there. We can call them and ask them. You already been there. You already told them. You told the former mayor, you talked to the current mayor, and you said you weren't getting anywhere with her. There's nothing we can do to help you there. And if there's no grant money that we gave them to do anything, you brought that up, and it had to do with river banks. We don't have any grant money for any river banks or creeks there. And I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you.
What wasn't brought up in our last meeting, you didn't say nothing about, you didn't have nothing to do with that part of the grant. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not aware of any grants. You were talking about a grant that you said when you were there. Were you on council or something? You were there at one
You mean
time?
if the state has something to do with the grant in a town or something, you guys don't have nothing to do with that even though it's in the county?
No, not if it's in a municipality.
Because I don't understand all about them myself. That's why I come to you guys and I ask you, and I thought.
I've been through.
What that say?
We keep going in a circle here. We're trying to help. We had you come in and talk this week. I know you don't like the answer, but the answer is that we don't have any jurisdiction in municipalities, and there's nothing we can do. I mean, that's the answer. I know you don't like it. You hope that we can fix your road or do something, but make someone fix your road or write a grant to fix your road or fix the potholes. But I think,
Well, I understand, that's why I'm telling you. And I didn't understand about when this leftover monies, which is grant money, comes into the town. I didn't know how this works. He told me state. I didn't know if they had to come through you first and then it goes to somebody else because you guys do grants, right?
we don't have anything to do with that grant you're talking about. It did not come to us.
See, I didn't
It was
know that.
Well, it was applied for. I mean, again, I don't know what else to tell you. We don't have any authority or jurisdiction in communities that are incorporated. If they applied for a grant to fix your road and they didn't put their money towards that specific road,
You'll have to get an attorney.
yeah, you have to do something else. I don't want to, there's nothing here we can do. We've given you everything, answer we can give you. Chris explained that we can't make Worthington fix your road. We don't have, we can't do that. And we don't have any jurisdiction over any grant that was for the purpose of fixing roads in Grant Town. And it's not what we do.
Well, I mean, I thought you, if people got grant money in and stuff like that left over, and they did come through here to get the grants, that's what I'm trying to tell. I understand what you say you don't have on that side, but if it's leftover grant money that comes into the town, which you've explained, or he has, that it's a state it's with and not with you guys, I didn't know that. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. Nobody never got back in touch with me. And I've been trying to get in touch with people so I wouldn't have to be here, but it hasn't worked out. So I figured I had to come back here. And it makes it, for what you're saying, it makes it sound like I don't understand what you told me, but I do, that it's this grant stuff. You people, if they put in for grants and they're getting grants for this and that. You told me the last time you knew what all was going on through Worthington with these water lines and river banks.
I never said to you at any time that I knew what all was going on in Worthington.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea. You're
Well, I
telling me
did
something.
mention that. I mentioned that in there, and you guys said, yeah, I know. I know what's going on with the river
I
bank
hate that.
and stuff like that.
I'll just chime in very quickly. We did mention that the grants are for specific uses, and they just couldn't take leftover money and apply it to something else, and that's probably where we left that, because I think that may have been a federal FEMA grant or something to replace the damage to the riverbank. So
Yeah,
you
I
just
didn't
can't
know.
take funds from one thing and use it somewhere else anyway. So that wasn't our intentions of going, of course, to Worthington, say, once you use that money, because it's not in our jurisdiction. That's up to the town of Worthington.
They can use the money for anything they want to, right?
I don't know. I would think not, but you'll have to ask them. I couldn't answer that question.
Okay. We're done.
Thank you. Chris, anybody else?
Tom, no.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Tom Manell. I live at 8 Holland Circle in Fairmont. And I'm not here in my role as former mayor of Fairmont or presently on the city council. I'm here just as a citizen. I read a story in the Fairmont paper this morning. I had to read twice before it sunk in, pertaining to the, sounds like a hospitality suite being created for homeless people in the old bank building here where the day report center is. And, we all know about the homeless problem. But if this article was written accurately, it leads me to believe that this is another thing that will enable or enhance the lifestyle of these people more so than the agencies that already do. So I hope with the situation now, with people on the street waiting to go into the day report center, I'm sure you all have received a lot of complaints. I know we have. They flip cigarettes, they use the F word, they intimidate people who are trying to go to the furniture store. It's not a good situation. And those people are responsible enough to show up. These homeless people aren't responsible enough to do anything. So bringing them up there to add to that problem, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I just wanted to say that because I'm very concerned about it. I go to the courthouse for my job several times a week. I go to Adams Office Supply. I'm downtown. I have a job. I try to maintain a parking garage at 104 Adams Street. We ended up putting $25,000 worth of steel doors up to keep the homeless people out of the garage. But they still go in during the day when the doors are open. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to the homeless situation. But please, I don't know if you're in a position to rethink this decision to rent to them or not, but I just don't think it's something that's going to make things better. I mean, these people have a mindset that they want to be on the street. That's their culture. And, you can read these mailers from the Union Mission. They pick out a person who they've helped, and I'm sure they have in isolated cases, but that's the exception more than the rule. So please think about enhancing these people's ability to remain a scourge on our downtown. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. Dee Dee probably knows more than anybody about the purpose of what's going in out there. Would you care to share? It's a mile and push cart outback who's been in town for 9 or 10 years anyway. And they're getting ready to expand it. Would you care to speak to that? Or just
Sure, be glad to. I'll come to the microphone so I can get myself on
Okay.
TV. And Tom, I appreciate that concern. The concern has usually been quite the opposite, that they need a place where they can receive services, they need a place where you can get them off the street. And I would say this to you, I had some concerns about that at first too. But I got the opportunity to talk to Mile and Push Car people. And Kirk Perdue and I went down a couple of weeks ago and spent most of the morning at the Friendship Room in Morgantown on 321 Walnut Street, where the same sort of situations hoping we can put in Fairmont will be. And it's just not a place where they can go and hang out. That's not going to be the intent of the Mile and Push Car Center. It's been developed over a period of a number of years, and actually it began at the Soup Opera when Push Car would bring people up there for nurses. They would take care of the folks that would come to the Soup Opera. It's going to be an opportunity for a low barrier shelter that's going to try to work with some. And I realize there's going to be some you can't work with, just like you said, who are going to disregard all rules. They're not going to want any shelter. They're going to be on the street. They're going to cause trouble. I mean, they're just like regular people. There's just some that you just can't contain. But bulk of them, and many of them, and some of them I'm working with right now, need places to go. They need training. They need an opportunity to do, resumes. They need an opportunity to get health checks. They need opportunities to become more, self-sufficient. And people have looked down on them. There are so many people that are homeless not because of what they want to be, but because of the situations that they have been in. Maybe a woman has been threatened and she's been beaten. She has to be on the street. And Hope has a limited number of beds and they can't provide for them. So they look to go into the Scott's Place or Union Mission. But if they're full, they're relegated to being on the street with their children. There are the people who are coming out of prison. That is a tremendous load. The folks who are coming out of prison that have no place to go, and they don't want their support group that will lead them back into the same situation. And then, of course, now the whole thing is high school students. There are over 10,000 high school students in West Virginia that are homeless. So this center, or we're calling it a Friendship Room, will have 7 rooms on the 4th floor, and will be to give them a place to come during the day, work with them, if at all possible, Tom. Let them have some crafts that they can do. Let employees come there. Let them do the resumes. Let them feel a sense of, self-security so that they can become a productive person. Many of them have very negative feelings about themselves. So consequently, we hope that this will help them out. Now, it's not going to solve all the answers because it's going to close at 4:30. They're going to go back on the street again. They can go to the mission for a meal at 5 o'clock, but after that, unless they can get into the mission at 5:30, unless they have a place at Scott's Place, they will not have an opportunity. They'll have to find their own shelter. But for the most part, and I know of a couple of people I've talked to, and we have some folks on our coalition that have been homeless, that have been in prison, that are veterans that have no place to go right now. And so this will be a godsend for them. And the success rate of the people who are worked with, who really want help, this will be a substantial place for them to go. Because who really helps the homeless? Who really helps? And the other thing that we're looking at, Tom, which we hope this can be a center for, is an entrepreneurial center, so that these people who are homeless have a lot of skills. There's one person that's in the church that's been in prison for 13 years, and he's been homeless, he's been a millionaire, he's been busted, he has all kinds of problems, but he's helping everybody that he knows, and if it wasn't for his wife and mother-in-law, he would not have a place to be. But he's an expert person with wicker making. But he has nobody and no support for making money by fixing wicker. So we hope that through this and through the high technology foundation, maybe God Peduto, that we can develop some entrepreneurship so that these people, many of whom have been in prison, who do have skills, can have a touchstone so that they can get involved, help the community, earn a living, become more self-sufficient, and move out of that homeless situation. We have a pretty good coalition, and I understand those types of problems. We do have concerns. We have concerns about smoking because they will probably loiter outside. We want to try to work with the county commission to try to find some place where they can be isolated, like right down front here that the county commission has, that they can go into that little booth and smoke. There may be some problems with loitering. We're going to have to address that. We don't know all the answers yet, but we want to make it a start so that we can alleviate some of that concern and reverse the concerns that you have, because I feel them too. I don't see them as much as you do. So we're hoping that this will be a real benefit. And I do want to say while I'm up here that I really do appreciate Jeff Beal for the work of his crew to get the place handicap accessible, to put in the correct windows. And I want to thank also the county commission for at least making this effort to address the problem of homelessness during the day and transients, and seeing each person as a human being. My faith says that each person has some quality and worth, and we're going to try to make it that way. And what mistakes we make, we'll try to correct. We do have the model in Morgantown, and I will tell you this, if anybody's interested, and John Mark, you can't get that in the paper in time, but on Thursday at 1 o'clock, anybody that wants to can go to Morgantown to the Health Rights Center down there at 321 Walnut Street and take a look at what they're doing and see how successful it is in meeting the needs of the people. And it's going to be something we're going to try to emulate here. So while I appreciate that concern, I think the purpose will be good results in time to come. And I think the county commission is trying to use the law building that they purchased for the community good to serve the community in all the best ways possible. And we'll make mistakes, but we'll try to correct them also.
Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it. Ms. Noyes, this is all going to be supervised over there, and it's not going to be, people aren't going to be turned loose over there. Supervised, there'll be rules, and there'll be...
Staff will be there all the time.
We have to raise $80,000, Tom, for salary. We raised about $40,000 so far, and that will be to have qualified staff. And the one thing that came out of our meetings is that the clients who are there will have to be responsible for their own place when they are there. If not, they will be kicked out of there. I mean, they have to keep the place clean. They have to perform their duties as a way of saying, yes, we want you to be here, but you have to take responsibility for this as well.
Let me add, what I said about the homeless was not said with malice.
I know it wasn't.
I'm concerned about the situation now, and hopefully it won't get any worse.
Exactly.
You may,
And I share that point with you because one of my members of the church owns Adams Office Supply. And I mean, I've heard of a situation, Dora Grubb would come to city council, and complain all the time about the Historical Society. But this is a way we think we can address some of those concerns. Obviously, we won't be able to correct them all, but at least it is a start. And I think it's going to be a very positive start. And I commend the commission. I commend Pushkar Health Right, because they've been after this for 8 years. My concern also, just as an aside, is I don't know what this whole thing with Pfizer and with Upjohn is going to do toward philosophic, I can't say that word, but you know what I mean, philosophic grants for, yeah, you know what I mean. So we talked about that yesterday, Randy. Okay.
Hey, Randy.
yes, Rick.
Hey, my understanding, that's the reason, is to get them off the street, get them inside one of the days, to get them counseling and stuff, and get them back out instead of, it's not gonna be a hotel, correct?
No.
Right, no, right, great. But that's the understanding we have here, but, and I thank you, Dee Dee, for that side, and I thank you, Tom. You make good, valid points, and we're concerned about that too. we're at least going to give it a shot and try. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. You know, but we thought that a good fit with the Day Report Center there and the psychiatrists and people and help they can get.
Right.
We may be able to turn 4 or 5 out of 10 lives around, make them productive citizens. I don't know. We see it's worth a try. And you know, and I've said it before because I had this conversation with Dee Dee and people complaining. You know, I said, you know, we've got soup opera, clothing pantry, we've got Scott Place Shelter, the Union Mission. We've got, you can get your clothes washed 3 days a week. I mean, we've done everything. We've got psychiatric help for them. We've got, we provide subsidized rent, subsidized utilities. I mean, we go on and on and on and on trying to help the people that need help. Yet we still have people standing down there on the street that choose to live that lifestyle. And there's some in my little town that I live in too, and they don't want help. That's what they choose. That's a lifestyle and culture they grew up with. They're not changing. So they're not going to change. And I doubt they take advantage of but the ones that Dee Dee's talking about that may be in that transition period because something happened in their life that caused that, we can't give up on them. We can't give up on them. Everybody deserves a right to have a chance. And I think that if they abuse that right and it doesn't work and they're cussing out there on the street and they're flipping a cigarette and take advantage of it, it'll be noticed pretty quickly. And then we try to, you know, but again, I go back to even the Day Report Center. It's not a monetary economical thing, but we do save $50 a day by not having them housed in that's your tax dollars, and your tax dollars are paid for that, which is the biggest expense the county has now, $2 million a year, $200,000 a month it costs us to house the people that are in the regional jail. So we got 40 or 50 people on the Day Report, maybe 40 or 50 on home confinement. You just figure that up. That's a lot of money. But besides that, if the people that are on the Day Report over there, if we can turn 3 or 4 lives out of 10 around, that's not a loss. To me, that's a win. And they become productive citizens. They move on, and we got to give them that chance. We got to try it.
Randy, if I could say, Rochelle, I just saw you here. She is the Marion County liaison to the Milan Pushkar Center that has worked with Chris Sinelli to develop. Maybe she could say something or two to address the issue. Would you let her say just a word or two? And I'm sorry, I didn't even see you, Michelle.
Well,
please come up. I didn't either.
Dee Dee, you're so eloquent with words, it's hard to back you up, and I appreciate all your support with the Homeless Coalition here in Fairmont to help us fill in the gaps. And when I started my position with Health Right in 2015, part of our goal was to find barriers that with mental health services in the county. And through that, I saw how wonderful our Friendship House works in Morgantown. And being a resident of Fairmont, I was like, we need that here in our county. And I came to Laura and said, is there a way we can expand? She's like, does the community need it? Do they want it? I said, absolutely. They miss having the clinic here. They keep thinking I'm a nurse. I was like, we need more services here. They need a safe place for them to go. Right now we have all these wonderful services, but for homeless people, there's not a phone book anymore for them to find out how to access this. The laundry services are still kind of like a hidden secret. They don't know how to access that. They don't know how to access showers, simple refills of their medication. So this is a safe place for individuals to go to know that they won't be judged for the way that they look, and that there is hope and they can heal from their situation, and they can support each other. That it's gonna be called a peer drop-in center because people can support each other. That's how a community works. And this isn't for just homeless people. It's for the community. It's everyone helping each other because that's how a community works. And it's been very successful in Morgantown. The Friendship Room there has been around for 60 years, long before Health Right took it over. We saw a need to take it over. whenever Mental Health America dissolved it, and we took over the program because we believed in it. And I believe this is something that needs to happen in our county because there is definitely a need to help people on the streets and get them in recovery and see that their life is worth something, and that's something that's missing. I know it's going to be hard to sell that because there is a lot of negativity, but if we stick with being the friendly city, let's provide these people some hope. Not everyone is going to buy into it. Not everyone's going to have that happy go-to attitude, but I'm hoping with my energy and hiring our staff that at least they'll come and have a cup of coffee, and then maybe they'll start talking to us about services. Some people get kicked out of places because of their behaviors, and we're hoping that they can come to us and find some hope. They can get kicked out of the mission for basic things, but they would be welcome at our place. But if you guys have any questions, you can always contact our Executive Director, Laura Jones, and we're open to volunteers. We're open to different life skills. So this isn't like a clear-cut, cookie-cutter program. There's going to be challenges, but there's also going to be solutions. So, and if there's ever a problem, we would want to know about it. But everyone is welcome. That's the main thing with our program.
Right.
So you can always contact me. We're still working with Chris on getting all the stuff situated. We move the boxes in, and when we have an open house, you can definitely come and talk to us then. So if anyone wants to contact me, you can, and come visit us in Morgantown too. So you can have time to talk with staff and see how the center runs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
She needs her name.
I need you to state your name.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Give him
It's
the
only
card.
Good information. Rochelle Satterfield, Rochelle. And I would help
Or
her.
the Fairmont liaison?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have prepared, one thing that's nice, we have prepared a guide of 80 services that homeless people can receive here in Marion County that will be available. And Randy's asked, that we get a kind of a informational guide. So I've prepared one that will list for any person that comes by, just not homeless, but it will provide services as to where you can go for food pantries, like we did some yesterday for folks, and
Talked about that quite a bit.
mental health services. Yeah, we meet if anybody's interested, we meet the last Monday of every month at First Presbyterian Church at 8:30.
Could you make some of those available here, those pamphlets that show what's available out there? Chris, anybody else?
Yes, Butch Tennant. I think Joel Dugan is with him.
You don't make me wait too long here.
That knee working again.
Butch Tennant from Fairmont. Hey, first I want to thank you guys for the good job you're doing with the Palatine Park, keep bad and all that stuff over there. It's really starting to shape up to be a main attraction for the northern part of West Virginia. This is Joe Dunnigan. Joel Dunnigan. He's the head of the art department at Fairmont State. Him is my new neighbor. He moved in. His wife got a job at Fairmont State. And we got talking about Palatine Park and the walls down there. And so we come up with this idea. So I'm doing a little artwork, and I'll let him go ahead and do the talking from now on. And he has some plans for that. But I think you guys will be very interested. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Butch.
Joel Dugan is my name, and my wife and I are somewhat new to the county. We've been here a little bit over a year. We own a house over on thank you very much for this, over on the west side, and both Butch and I are neighbors, so we have had conversations about a sense of place. And so as a parent and as an artist, I have frequented Palatine Park, and I find that right now as a park, there are some points where it feels a little disjointed. And I have always been interested in history and in a place and really the footsteps that took place to make it what it was and what it is. And so in many cases, I see that as an opportunity for art to fill a gap. And so what I want to talk about is a project that Butch and I have kind of dreamed about. And my idea was, this project would be proposed out to summer of 2020. It would be a 4 to 6 week span of time that would be a project that would basically incorporate art students at Fairmont State who are working with me to develop some mural proposals, and then installing them in Palatine Park in the center where there's kind of a little bit of blight around the bridge. And at this point right now, when there's no lights there at night and when people are able to hide, I think that you end up with some loitering there that causes kind of a disjointed feel. So the goal of this project is to connect both the two ends of Palatine Park with public art and to visualize the iconic people that make up and establish our sense of place. So by creating this partnership that would be on behalf of Marion County and Fairmont State, I think that we keep our talent home, and in a way we let them make impact in a community that they are, such an important and pivotal part of. I think too often we see youth absorbed in their own portals, and they don't have the ability to talk about the people who have led us where we are. Okay, so just quickly about kind of who I am. I got an opportunity as an undergraduate student in college to paint a mural for the Capitol building in Lansing, Michigan, and it transformed